Hello, and welcome everyone to Talk to Tony Wilson. My guest today is Bobby Jiggets. He's a motorcyclist out of Fairfax County, Virginia. Bobby also goes by a different name, but before I tell you that, I just want to let you know how I got in contact with Bobby. I had a family member that called me and said, "You just really need to talk to him. He has some health issues that he's going through that he likes to share with other people." And that family member knew I like to share health information with other people also. That family member said I should call you Big Country. So,
Yeah, that's my club name.
okay. So before you tell us about your health issues, I want you to just explain where you got that name Big Country from. I'm just kind of interested in that also.
Well, it came from uh, the guys I used to work with before I retired. That because they always say you're nothing but a good old country boy.
Mhm.
So they just started calling me Big Country, and I just adapted the name and kept on going with it.
And that became your motorcycle riding name, huh?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Because that family member of mine said, his name is Bobby, but I don't know his last name. I only know him by Big Country. It's like, okay, well, I'll
Yeah.
just go with that. Okay. So tell us about some of your background. Bobby has a history of high blood pressure and diabetes. So can you give us some of your background in that? Like when did you first discover you're diabetic? When did you first discover you have high blood pressure? What was going on back then?
Um. As and I say this because it's typical. Back when I first found out, it was like I believe like around 1996, 97. And it's a well-known fact that African American males, we don't really go keep ourselves checked with the doctor that often. We only go if something is really, really bad. So my situation was my wife, fiance then, uh, I was going to the bathroom maybe every 10 minutes. And I also had an overweight problem. Back then I was around 400 pounds. So she says, "You're going to the doctor." And I was drinking a lot of water. I mean, I could probably drink about 5 gallons of water per day. So she took me to the doctor, and after the blood work and the exam and everything, he told me that you have stage 1 chronic kidney disease. He said you're a diabetic and you have high blood pressure and hypertension. So I found all this out at the same time. And I think back then I was stage 1 diabetes, CKD, chronic kidney disease. And he told me it's going to get worse, but you can slow it down. So he had me stop eating red meat and pork. And to this day, I still don't eat either one of those. And so as it went on, of course, it got worse. Stage 2, stage 3. I ended at stage 4. But during this time, I didn't really know anything about it. I didn't know anybody going through that had diabetes or chronic kidney disease. So I just took it with a grain of salt and kept on. I changed the way I ate just a little bit, but not too much. But over time, I think a few years went by, and I started swelling really bad. And in 2007, I got an infection, and I had to get my little toe on my left foot, well, the two little toes on my left foot amputated. During the time I was going through that, they decided to send me to dialysis. So as I went through dialysis, the swelling started going away. So I went to dialysis from 2007 to 2013 when I got my first kidney transplant. I got my first kidney transplant July the 4th, 2013. And it lasted until uh, early in 2019. I started dialysis again. And wait a minute, was it 2019? 2020. Well, I got 6 years out of the kidney before it started going bad. And so we started we started watching it really good. And we started back in dialysis early this year, March the 1st, actually. And I went for 5 months, and I was blessed enough to get a kidney on August the 17th of this year. So that's just a quick summary of my.
Of the overall. Okay, I want to back up a little bit from like your early stages of being diagnosed with hypertension and diabetes.
Mm-hmm.
During your diabetes, especially, when you first had your blood sugar checked, do you remember what some of your higher numbers were?
Oh, around 360, 325, close to 400. I mean, I was still, even back then at that heavy weight of 400 pounds, I was still playing basketball every weekend. So it kind of kept the blood sugar in check a little. The only issue was I was constantly thirsty. And in turn, I was constantly going to the bathroom.
Did you have a family history of diabetes or high blood pressure that you were aware of?
At the time, no.
Okay.
I didn't know anybody going through it.
Wow. So since then, you found any family members that has come to you and said, oh, I'm diabetic also, or I have high blood pressure as well?
The funny thing about that is, back in 2007, when I started going to dialysis, I found out that my father was diagnosed with diabetes also, and that he ended up having to start dialysis a short time after I did. So that's what gave me the first knowledge. And then as I talked to some of the elders in the family, they said, oh yeah, it runs in the family. But I never knew that until then.
Wow. So now that you know, have you talked to any other family members about possibly being checked or any symptoms that they may need to know about? Have you talked to any family about some of this?
Oh yeah, you know, we're a family that does reunions. So when we go to reunions, we get to talking, and I see people eating certain things, and I bring the situation up. They say, they ask me, do you want a piece of cake or do you want a burger? I said, no, I don't eat that stuff because I have diabetes. And that's when the whole conversation gets going about, and then, you know, I more or less get on my soapbox and start preaching the dangers of sugars and salts and all of this stuff.
So from the time that you were diagnosed with hypertension and diabetes, what do you think was preventing you from just basically changing your lifestyle around to just going to a what we would consider a healthier lifestyle? Was there any
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Was there anything that you can think of that basically stood in your way from living a better lifestyle, a healthier lifestyle?
Actually, I really didn't struggle with any of it because my personality is, say when the doctor said you can't eat red meat or pork anymore, or he said you can only eat maybe a $50 size piece. And I told him, if that's all I can have, I'm not going to eat it anymore. And he kind of challenged me. He said, sir, at your weight and at the amount of calories you intake per day, there's no way you're going to change that. And I took that as a personal challenge. So right at that point is when I just stopped eating it, and I haven't touched it since.
What role did your wife play into that, since she was there with you when you got your diagnosis? How did she help encourage you along the way? Because I kind of feel like it was probably hard to just stop, I would think, since if that was just your lifestyle. So what role did she play in as far as helping to encourage you along the way?
She supported me. She said, if you're going to stop, she said, are you sure you can just stop without falling back? I said, honey, I took it as a challenge. So I said, I'm going to prove that I can live my life without eating red meat and pork. And I really have not touched it since.
Well, fantastic. Well, since that time, I know you mentioned that you've had actually two kidney transplants. What are some other issues along the way? Because we know diabetes and high blood pressure, it messes with the vessels in your body that circulates blood throughout. So what are some other issues or chronic conditions that you may have come in contact with along the way?
Oh, infections. You're very highly susceptible to them. And the thing called neuropathy, I have it in my feet and part of my lower legs. For those that don't know, is when you start losing feeling. So the doctors started telling me you have to have shoes on all the time, because they found out that any little, what they told me was anytime you step on anything, a nail, it could be a comb or anything, because of your neuropathy, you won't feel it, which will lead you to infections. And I actually had behind infections because of the complications of the diabetes and the kidney disease and the hypertension and high blood pressure. I've lost three toes on my left foot, the big toe and the two little ones. Recently, the big toe got amputated back in December. And you can break a bone and not feel it. I actually broke my right foot completely, and I walked around on it for 6 months before the doctor noticed that something was wrong with my foot. So as he was treating me for the infection in my left foot, he checked it was the podiatrist. He checked both feet and he looked at my right foot and said, I need you to go get an x-ray. When I came back from x-ray, he looked at it again and said, you broke your entire foot. All your toes are broken. And he said, you never felt it? I said, no, I never felt it. I couldn't even remember the situation where I did it. It was a lot of scenarios where it could have happened, but I don't know which one was the one.
Now, I see you have on the dark glasses. Does that have anything to do with your complications from your diabetes and high blood pressure?
What's that? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Dark glasses. I see you have on your dark glasses.
Oh yeah, that was recent. That started about 2 years ago, and it progressively got worse. And that's because of stage 4 glaucoma, I believe it is.
Okay.
But I'm a positive person. I'm not claiming it. I know in my heart that I will see again. So I won't let anything stop me from being the person that I am. I mean, even back when I was first diagnosed, I kind of was sad about it. And I talked to a good friend that told me, he said, here's what you do. You cry about it, you pray about it, and you let it go. Once I did that, it kind of like freed me, because that's when I started back in 96, 97. I started coaching youth sports. And I coached 2 youth basketball teams for the last 20 years. And then the last 19, 20 years. And for 4 years, I've been assistant coach at high school girls softball, junior varsity and varsity.
Just remaining as active as you possibly can.
Hmm?
Just remaining as active as you possibly can, huh?
Yeah, I mean, diabetes, kidney disease, it's not a life-killing situation, although it's a life-changing situation. And people feel they're going to dialysis is, man, this is going to kill me. No, it's a life-changing, life-saving situation.
Wonderful. Okay. Now you mentioned infections, and you know we have the COVID-19 out there. We have the flu season that we're into right now. Do you do anything special to help keep yourself safe from that?
When they first announced the first mild lockdown on, what was it, March the 12th, I've been in, I've been in, I wouldn't say seclusion, but I keep myself socially distanced ever since then. And that's a choice, but I feel for my safety and my family's safety. I mean, we all in my household social distance away as much as we can. But thing is, you have to make sure you're safe first. Nobody can make you safe but you.
Are you an advocate for flu shot? And some people have mentioned pneumonia shots. How do you feel about those?
Oh, well, first, because I worked in the wastewater treatment industry for 20 years. The flu shot was a necessary thing. But since being retired, I do take the flu shot every year. I take the pneumonia shot when it's time for the pneumonia shot. And I would suggest now that anyone going through this or even having a history of was it measles, to make sure you get your shingle shot, because I did have a bad case of shingles, and it lasted me for, as a matter of fact, I still go through some of the pain, and I got shingles early in November last year.
Well, is there anything else that you would like for us all to know about your health struggles? At least I'm calling it a struggle. It sounds like you're pretty much adapting to it and doing what you need to do in order to keep yourself going. But is there anything else that you would like to share with us to help keep ourselves protected, keep ourselves healthy?
Okay, the main thing is, don't be afraid. Frequent your doctor. Do whatever test they ask you to do. You know, some people think, well, it's a racket and they just want your money. No, they're there for a reason. Go get checked. Keep your checkups. Um, Try to do whatever they ask you to do. I mean, I talk to a lot of different people, and a lot of people feel a different way. Now, honestly, when they first told me, I told the doctor, I don't think I can do that. And I'm gonna be honest, and I'm gonna tell you like he told me. He said, you can keep living your way and guaranteed to live a short time, or you can live the way I'm laying out for you and possibly live a very long time. And I actually said, okay, I'll take your way for 1,000, Alex, because I want to live.
Wow, that's fantastic.
And it was not only for me, it was to be unselfish towards all the family and friends that you affect. Because what's the saying? A grain of salt is worth an ounce of cure. If you just take these little steps, and it's not necessarily for you, it's to really for the other people that support and love you. You can't be selfish. And being selfish is saying, I'm not going to the doctor. I have diabetes. Well, I'm going to die. I'm going to die my way. No, you can't think of that way. Of course, we're all going to die. And my saying is, yes, we all have a number that's going to get called. But I would be crazy to jump in line in front of somebody. Now, if you want to jump in line in front of me because you don't want to go to the doctor, that's fine. And I'm sorry to be so blunt, but that's the way I was told, and that's the way.
Well, like I said, I haven't heard that put that way either, but I will welcome those to jump in front of me too.
Yeah, I mean, it's a life-altering situation, but now no, by no means is it a life-ending situation. That means you don't give up. You keep one foot in front of the other. The road might get a little slower, it might get a little hilly, but you keep on keeping on. Remember, you may not know, but you're here for a reason.
Well, thank you, Big Country. I am so glad I got a chance to talk with you. And just like that family member told me, yes, I really did need to hear from you. And all the others that's going to be listening to this video, take heed of what he's telling you. Go around
Yeah,
your doctor's appointments. Listen to what the doctor is telling you. We all have our theories that some doctors just want your money. If you don't believe in that doctor, go to another one. But take heed to what they're telling you. They're out there for a reason. And
yeah. I mean, if you really want to know things that I've been through, like I said, I went through that. And in 2018, I had a bad motorcycle crash where I shattered my ankle. I fractured 3 ribs. I broke my shoulder. I I had the shingles. I had the toe amputation. I had intestinal infection. But listen, they all go away, and you adapt and you keep moving. Even with my short on vision, I still want to do a lot of things, and I'm going to try to do those.
all right. Well, Big Country and the viewers, I'm gonna have to end our talk right now. But Big Country, I really, really do thank you and appreciate you coming on here and sharing this with us. You are really an inspiration. You're somebody to listen to. He's telling us, he's sharing his story, and he's giving us hope. He hasn't given up, so we don't need to give up either.
Oh no, you can't give up. You you have a you we all have a great support system around us. You just have to reach out to them. Sit down and let them know what's going on with you, and you'll be surprised how much they're going to support
Well, do you have anything else you would like to share with us, or?
you. Yeah, yeah. Again, don't be afraid to talk to other people, because I run into people all the time that walk up to me that know me and say, I ask them, what's wrong? They say, man, I just came from the doctor and the doctor told me I have stage 2 diabetes. I said, well, don't hold your head down. I've been going through this for 20 some years. And they were, well, maybe I need to talk to you. Hey, listen, here's my phone number. You call me and we'll sit down and talk about it. I said, we can talk. I said, listen, it's easy. Everybody has an opinion. Everybody tells you what they think you should do. But if they haven't walked a mile in your shoes, they really have no advice for you. So it's always good to talk to somebody who's been through what you're going through, or going through the same thing that you're going through, or have been through what you're going through.
Well, on that note, I am going to have to end. Um, this has been a really good interview. I really enjoyed it. But
Well, thank you for inviting me.
thank you. But that's going to have to end another talk with Tony Wilson. And to all I will say is have a great day.